I think pretty much everybody sees the positives of the Thibodeau effect. You know what I mean? In terms of the culture they have right now, how hard they play, how good they look defensively. And, even just like part of the reason Jalen Brunson signed with the Knicks is because he wanted to play for Tibbs, you know, because he's just known him since he was a tiny child. So I think there are a lot of Tibbs things they look at that outweigh the other stuff, but there are definitely people there who are like, minutes are a lot, dude. They're a lot.
Yeah. And as they should, to be clear, like, I don't know, I do a poor job of making this clear. I mean, look at someone like Precious Achiuwa. What they're getting from Precious right now, you can almost, I mean, I don't want to take credit away from Precious himself. I'm sure he works super hard. I'm sure he's a really talented guy, but you look at the shots he doesn't take since the second he becomes a Knick. You look at how locked in he is on defense. You have to attribute some of that to coaching and being prepared night in and night out. And you can't just say, oh, well, Precious would have found this anywhere. I think it's reasonable to say they aligned the skill that he clearly has with, great coaching and great preparation. That's just credit to Tibbs right there.
Totally. Tibbs is really good at taking players who feel like they've bitten off too much to chew in other places and simplifying their roles to maximize their success. I think Mitchell Robinson is a great example of that. Mitch, where it was, he tried to block everything when he came into the league, and he was out of rebounding position all the time, out of defensive position all the time. And, Tibbs has done such a good job of simplifying the game for him. Okay, somebody cuts here. I know this is where I have to go every time. Regarding a pick and roll, this guy goes this way, I have to go this way. Mitch openly doesn't care about blocks anymore. I was talking to him, and I referred to him, this was earlier in the season, and he had gone a few games in a row without even having a block. And I referred to him just casually as a shot blocker. He was like, I'm not a shot blocker. I was like, what are you talking about? You're not a shot blocker. It's like, how many shots I blocked the last 3 games? And I was like, well, none, but you're a shot blocker. He was like, nah, I don't care about shot blocking. It's all wrong. I should have never cared about shot blocking. Where I just want to alter all these shots. I just want to alter all these shots. And then Josh Hart overheard our conversation. Josh was sitting in his locker, and Josh interrupts. He's like, you're not a shot blocker, but you're a different kind of thing. And Mitch was like, what do you mean? And then Josh just put both of his arms, his hands on his shoulders, and shivered like when you see a ghost, to imply people just come in the lane. They're just afraid. He's
a shot intimidator. Yeah, I like that.
Which is you really see that with Anthony Davis. I watched Pistons Lakers last night. I watched just a ton of NBA. Guys won't even put up shots when Anthony Davis is in the vicinity, and he's not a super gambly shot blocker. And what you're saying about Mitch rings so true there. He doesn't even need to jump anymore. He's almost altering the shot just by being there.
And to your 100%. Point, Fred, the Mitchell Robinson's shot block percentage has gone down every year of his career. His rookie year was a 10%, which is a super high number. 99th percentile in the NBA. Has gone down every year since, and is down to 4.2% this year, which is still a very high number, but way off his, where he started. So that's a great point.
And he's a better defender than he's ever been, right?
And better than he's ever been.
Before he got hurt, he was better than he's ever been. And I think, Tibbs got a certain message across to him that he has now adopted to the extreme and has simplified his role, simplified the game. And I don't think anybody can look at what Mitch, before he got hurt, he was playing at an all defense level, in my opinion. And I don't think anybody can look at the season that Mitch was having before he got hurt and be like, you think anything other than this coaching staff has squeezed every single ounce of talent out of Mitch that you can get. I don't think you can look at what Jalen Brunson is doing right now and be like, they are helping Jalen Brunson become one of the best point guards, an all NBA caliber player. Same thing with Julius Randle. I think they're really good at simplifying the game for a lot of people, especially centers, especially guys like Mitch, Precious, who play that more defensive minded energy guy role. really good at doing that. Like, look at what happened when Nerlens Noel took over for Mitchell Robinson during the Hawks year, right? Like, Nerlens Noel all of a sudden comes in and becomes this defensive anchor, and Noel hasn't really done anything since.
Hartenstein leads the NBA in defensive EPM. The guy that they were bringing in to be like a stretch five who could Jokic of the East now leads all of the NBA in defensive EPM.
Totally. And it's also because Hartenstein has bought into it. At the beginning, Hartenstein was a little slow to buy into the role. At the beginning, he was like, when I was with the Clippers, they're using me in the high post. I'm running the second unit offense, basically. The crazy Clippers fans are calling me the unheralded Jokic, like now I'm just going to screen and dive and got to be defensive. And to Hartenstein's credit, for what it's worth, I think that last year with the Clippers, one of the things that Tibbs saw in Hartenstein, and one of the reasons that the Knicks wanted to sign him, was his rim protection data was really good that year with the Clippers. He was playing like 18 minutes a game, but I think opponents were shooting 48% on dunks and layups when Hartenstein was the closest defender. And that's an awesome number. It was right near the top of the league. But that's like, once you get under 50% on dunks and layups when you're the closest defender, that's like even a little over 50%. That's a very good number. But if you're in the 40s, that's like Rudy Gobert territory. That's really, really good. That's Rudy Gobert territory. That's Walker Kessler territory. That's really, really, that's where the top notch rim protectors are. And the Knicks were super intrigued with that stat. Tibbs was super intrigued with that stat and was like, oh, I can make this happen. And I think at first Hartenstein, he was also dealing with an Achilles thing for a lot of the beginning of last year, which definitely hampered him. But I think it took him a little bit to buy in. And then eventually, once he decided, you know what, screw it, I'm diving into this. Now, all of a sudden, he can do all the Tibbsy stuff, but it's not like he's forgotten how to pass. It's not like he's forgotten that he's a skillful big. It's not that he's forgotten that he's a smart defensive anchor. And now all of a sudden, he's just kind of got this full package where he's able to do all of this stuff. And it's, I think, in part because he bought into how the Knicks wanted to use him. But now he's this very malleable guy who he's a free agent after this year. I think basically any team could convince themselves that forget about the finances, obviously, but just from a basketball perspective, you could be like, yeah, we can make this work, because if we want him to be more of a conventional old school center type, he'll thrive. If we want him to handle the ball a little bit more, he'll thrive. Like it's just, he's so much more versatile now than he was 2 years ago.